Today from Aquileia. The Roman city and the modern Italian city have the same name. Now, you've probably never heard of this, but if you were here 1,000 years ago, this would have been one of the great centers of Western culture and civilization because of the church right here behind me. The Patriarch of Aquileia was one of the great church leaders for most of the first millennium into the second. Before the city of Venice really took power, this was the center, kind of the northernmost center of Italian culture in the north. It was from this church that missionaries would travel north and bring the faith into what's now Austria and southern Germany. Now, when you look at the church today, you'll say it looks like a medieval church. But this is because this is one of many churches built on the site. What we're going to see today are a few different things. First is the Basilica you see behind me. That's about 1,000 years old. But what we're going to see are some Roman mosaics from when the first church was built here around the year 400. So what we're talking about is within the first century that Christianity was legal in the Roman Empire, the Roman Christians, sorry there's a bee around me, the Roman Christians were building things like this, and so we can see kind of the transformation of the Roman culture into the Christian culture.
Prepara poi il tour 2.
Now, in front of the Basilica, you can see this other building attached to it by a passageway. This is the baptistry. Most of our churches today, the baptismal font or baptism takes place right in the church itself. But in the ancient church, churches will already have a separate baptistry. And often it would be sited just like this, because we enter the church through baptism. And so the baptismal area takes place in front of the church, and after baptism, you'd enter into the church. Now, when we go inside, we'll notice some symbolism here. You can see that the Basilica has 8 sides. You think, what's the 8th day of the week? Well, if a week has 7 days, the 8th day is the following Sunday. So for early Christians, this number 8 was the number of the resurrection, of the new week beginning and of the new life into which we enter. You'll notice something else, though. The actual baptismal font itself has 6 sides. Well, what's the 6th day of the week? Friday, the day on which Christ died. And so he was reading the letters of St. Paul that through baptism we die with Christ, then we rise with him to new life. And so what you'll see is the 6-sided font into which people would actually step down and go under the waters, reminding us of the death to the world of sin that we go through baptism. Then they would rise as a recreated person in Christ into the 8-sided baptistry, a symbol of the new life in which they were now living as Christians.